Z prepares to fight U.S. tariffs. This is going through the Asian press. It has not really hit the American press. This is, if accurate, and I believe it mostly is dynamite. Okay, just some general information here to start out. And Z was not prepared for Trump's tariff move. That's number one. This came out of nowhere. Z views Trump's tariffs as declaring war. Okay, he's taking it seriously. Z sees this as a chance to crush U.S. hegemony. So the thing is, he's seeing this in a different view than the U.S. And Z has developed 5 strategies in his response plan, and we're going to go over them here. Now, let me just tell you about the source of this. This is an insider-leaked CCP tariff policy document, and this was presented Area 51 style in a room to all the mucky mucks in China, the CCP monkey mucks, all across the country in a room, no notes, no photos, no nothing. All they did was read it, okay? And this was to put everyone on the same page, according to the source, which is unnamed. It details the steps the CCP and Z will take to counter U.S. tariffs, and this is a covert leak. This is from the memory of a CCP official who read this document under those circumstances, unnamed, was leaked to a very trusted ex-CCP source overseas, and appears to be authentic. Several Asian or / Chinese news sources I follow anyway, have, they have backed this up. So let's go through this. Main thrust here is the CCP declares total war. Every response possibility is on the table. Cyber war, financial war, military action. Okay? The thing is, the community fears Z is out to save himself from being deposed. Okay? Just as Mao imposed the Cultural Revolution and Deng did the square. I don't want to mention the word there because I don't want to get this banned. This is Z's, it's putting his position at risk. This policy allegedly has been conveyed confidentially to all. Okay, so all across the country at the same time, they were presented this document in a room, no cameras, no notes, no nothing, no phones. They read it, and that's to maintain the confidentiality. And supposedly, this is right from Xi Jinping. The insider leaked the tariff policy document to trusted outside source. So this was not leaked to the press, and certainly not leaked to the Western press. Okay, this is ex-CCP outside the country. This is leaked from inside of China by CCP. So it's all inside baseball, and this is the steps he's going to take. And again, the source was not revealed. Okay, there's 5 steps. Let's go through them here. The International United Front strategy against U.S. tariffs. Okay, Z, and this is bearing some fruit here because Z is traveling throughout the world right now, trying to firm up. And I just read today that he has cautioned countries not to push for exclusive trade agreements with the United States, that would be a problem. So first one is Xi is looking at leveraging Germany, France, UK, Canada, Japan, South Korea, and Australia against the U.S. These are Western countries that are facing tariffs from Trump, and he wants to leverage that to move in and get a trade deal with China separate from the United States. And then after he breaks the Western coalition, he wants to pull other nations into the CCP coalition, the opposing Trump's coalition, trade coalition. This is the CCP trade coalition. He wants to move other countries into it, and the goal here is to isolate the U.S. In these trade negotiations. So this is a diplomatic front. And again, Xi is traveling, and he's traveling to these places. So now, there are financial war plans as well. The China elites must be prepared to quickly move assets out of the U.S. and back to China or a third world country. And failure to do so will be treason. So this is very serious. I remember talking in the past to someone who was familiar, and he said, there's not only billionaires in China, there's trillionaires, okay? And they are members of the CCP, and every time a company is opened in China, they have a party, they have a dais, and at the top, at the center, is generally a military person and certainly a member of the CCP. They own most of these businesses or have an ownership interest in most of in all of these businesses, really. So there is a lot of money outside of China, okay? I know someone who was working in real estate in Southern California. Venice, California has been bought out, cash, no bid purchases of real estate. Obviously, there's real estate in major Los Angeles, New York, I'm sure in apartment buildings and other things. So they got to move assets out. And failure to do so will be treason. So there's a lot of money that has to be moved. Now they're saying third parties all right, but out of the U.S. So what's the result going to be on the U.S.? Well, they're going to drop prices, you would assume, in these asset classes because they're pulling out so fast, you would think. And this is number 2 of the financial war plans. Full financial U.S. decoupling readiness is what it was called. Now, in other words, they're not doing this yet, but they're planning on doing this. Okay. The CCP and, the princelings and so forth of the CCP, the ruling class, the, Communist Party members have to be, and the Communist Party has to be ready to quickly dump $1 trillion in treasury bonds. Okay, so that is going to raise the T-bill rate and raise the cost of financing the deficit, I would think. And 1 trill in T-bills and 2 trill in stocks and corporate bonds. Now, the corporate bonds are troubling, and this could definitely crash, the stock market. And, these corporate bonds, a lot of them are in trouble anyway because there are covenants on these corporate bonds. A lot of these bonds have performance riders that the company has to produce such and such a revenue or whatever, or they default on these bonds. And but this is a different story. Again, they would be doing a rug pull here. Okay, a financial rug pull is definitely planned. So this would result in higher T-bill rates and I would imagine, and a crash in the stock market. Now, the U.S. is also, the Trump administration has threatened to delist, Chinese ADR, Chinese companies that are listed on, the NASDAQ or the stock exchange. So, they're not following GAAP principles and so forth. But you're looking at a T-bill dump, a rug pull, and corporate stocks and bond rug pull in the trillions. So, this, you can work that out for yourself. That's a trillion here, a trillion there. You're talking about a lot of money. Okay, the CCP plans for China population in prolonged conflict with the U.S. So they're looking at this like Mao's Long March or whatever, and they're saying their position is we will not yield. As you know, Z has said this. We will not yield. They're not going to call the U.S. Trump's waiting for a call. He's saying there's going to be a call. So they are prepared, and the CCP has been, the party members across the country running the towns and everything, be prepared to impose rationing of food, fuel, cooking oil. So they're going to go into wartime footing, okay? And this is a pretty harsh move, but they are prepared to do this, or being told to prepare to do this. Of course, a lot of the agricultural imports into China come from the United States and other parts in the world. But rationing in China, social unrest, possibility. So now this is troubling. CCC plans for international strategic and military alliance or alliances. Okay. Now, the directive here is that China is going to deepen its relationship with Russia, Iran, and North Korea. So it already exists. The Russia is a deep friendship for life or whatever it is. But China wants to increase this relationship. Of course, Trump is pushing on nuclear dearmament for Iran, and also with Russia, there seems to be some pushback from Putin on the peace settlement, but you can see the Trump administration is trying to bust this alliance up. North Korea is just, I was just looking at some media the other day, the amounts of material and likely men flowing from North Korea to Russia in the Ukraine conflict is growing, okay? So they have this alliance, this axis, okay? And they want to add to this axis using their local neighbors there, Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, and Myanmar. So they want, that's their base, and they want to add this other base, Belt and Road, arm twisting, diplomacy. So they're looking to expand their axis, okay? How successful they will be at that, I don't know. But this is the intent, okay? CCC plans for international strategic alliance continued. Okay, this is the second part of this point. They're going to exploit the anger against the U.S. in the European Union and Canada to use as a wedge to disrupt the NATO alliance, okay? And you can see this at work already, and I don't even think this needs any explanation, but certainly they have a wedge in there, just the response from Europe, and there is an opening there for China, but they want to disrupt NATO. Okay, that's what they want. as well use anger to weaken relationship with Japan, Australia, and New Zealand, which is basically their backyard. And there was just a very aggressive response given by an official from Japan about the tariffs. Okay, so this, I think we can see the gears grinding on this, and I do believe they're working this, but certainly this diplomacy is a key part of this, and they're using the shock and awe of the tariff program against the United States in these cases. Okay? Now the fifth point of the plan, CCC plans for a military struggle. Shocking. If the situation with the U.S. escalates, okay, and I have here, or China deteriorates, this was not clear through the translations that were relayed through the media I saw. It's just, it's sometimes hard to get the tone right. But if the situation with the U.S. escalates or China deteriorates, public protests, so forth, China will go after Taiwan where it feels it has a military advantage, okay? So, Xi has told the military to prepare for a confrontation with the U.S. in the Taiwan Strait. And that would be the U.S. and Japan in the Taiwan Strait. So, if things get dicey, okay, and I don't know if this is moving fast, if we move too fast or we move too slow. Probably if we move too fast from the Western side, or China deteriorates, as in, Xi possibly getting a challenge. Definitely, and everyone has been saying, China will invade Taiwan, by 2027. This may expedite that military action. So this is quite shocking. Now let's see the second half of this is maybe even more shocking. Okay, this is full spectrum warfare backed by nuclear deterrent. That's cyber and military action, naval, armed forces, so forth. The Z response to U.S. intervention in CCP action against Taiwan. So when China moves against Taiwan, if the U.S. intervenes, again, supposedly Japan is our ally here. So Japan and U.S. would go into the strait there and challenge the CCP. The CCP action, which Z has indicated, is destroy U.S. bases in Japan, South Korea, Philippines, and Guam. So, China attacks, U.S. Japan intervenes, China attacks bases in Japan, South Korea, Philippines, and Guam. Hypersonic missiles, it says backed by nuclear deterrent. I don't believe they'd use this. This implies they wouldn't use a nuclear deterrent or nuclear weapons in this effort. But again, hypersonic missiles and so forth. But this is a attack on all these are key U.S. Military base locations. Okay, and I don't see Diego Garcia there. But anyway, this indicates that, should China move militarily, this could escalate very quickly. CCC plans for military struggle continued. The CCP goal is to have the U.S. retreat as a result of these actions. And Z wants to move all U.S. capabilities east of Hawaii. Okay, so the U.S. fleet would be under attack. These bases are naval and air bases. So Z is contemplating knocking all this out, getting a retreat. This is, I don't know if you would consider this a Pearl Harbor kind of attack, but east of Hawaii. So our outpost would be Hawaii, and that would be a great reduction of the area of control, and basically move America. I don't even know where that would put us historically, but they want to end the U.S. global dominance over that region of the world, and this is ambitious and bold. You see, I made Z bigger there. This is what he's thinking. Now, the Chinese elite and the CCP and the princelings and so forth, what they are saying under their breath and behind the scenes about this plan, they do not like it. Okay, so this would be, the layer under Z. They especially don't like moving their wealth, okay? Because as I said, there are billionaires in this group, okay? They do not like, everybody likes the property rights and the banking system and the court system in the United States. If you're going to put money somewhere, that's where you want to put it. Also, they feel the alliances that she is looking to put together, this giant trade group, is delusional. Okay, they don't think he can cobble this together, either twisting arms or using diplomacy. So they don't like moving their wealth. They don't believe these diplomatic alliances with Thailand and so forth, and separating NATO and everything, but especially the Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, moving these alliances closer together, other than what already exists with South Korea, Iran, and Russia. North Korea. So this was a quote. This program would fail and destroy the CCP. Okay? So they don't like moving their wealth. They don't think these alliances are going to work. I think this implies a doubt about the military, chance of military success among them, what they feel. Elites feel Z is trying to avoid. Now this is this is the rub, okay? This is why Z would do that. Well, there's two reasons, but the elites feel Z is trying to avoid world court charges for crimes against humanity and financial reparations against China related to the outbreak of COVID. So, and the Trump White House website has been rattling a saber about this, and there's, people are now openly saying this was traced back. And again, this is a topic the Trump White House is pursuing. And they feel that this is the likely result if he loses the tariff war to the United States. So, I think that's accurate. I think Trump is pushing in that direction, and this is his pushback, and he doesn't want to end up in the witness box at the World Court there. Anyway, so this is really, this is crisis in China, and the tariffs were bad enough. Now this 5-point plan is also another crisis for, again, the elites in China. The elites feel failure of this program would lead to Xi imposing a Mao-like cultural revolution, and you see they already talked about imposing rationing and so forth to maintain control of the country and his position due to the economic collapse from the tariff program. So they think the program's going to fail, and after that failure, they think Xi is going to impose massive social programs to maintain control. So, and this would all be a result of the tariff program. So we're looking at, as I said earlier, Mao did the Cultural Revolution, Deng did the Square, and this would be Xi's move to maintain power. If Xi attacks Taiwan, elites feel so. This would be the trigger point for all that military action that's outlined in the previous slides. If Xi attacks Taiwan, elites feel a military coup would be likely to depose him. So, and the military, supposedly this is a thing, because the military does not want to trigger this massive action. I don't think they feel they're ready for it. I don't, of course, a lot of soldiers, they say their quality of their equipment isn't up to it, and the military just does not have confidence in this program, this giant, pushing the U.S. back east of Hawaii. So, military coup. So, the elites, they really don't like this, and they think a coup, and they think Xi would be deposed. Now, here's the thing. Now, you might say, well, it looks like the elites are against Xi, the military's against Xi. Mao is in a simple, almost a similar situation. Xi, let me just say this, and so you think, well, Xi's on his way out, and there's some media that says Xi's on his way out. I don't know, but this is the thing about Xi. Xi has ensconced himself as leader for life in China, okay? He has consolidated his power through purges and other things. And 13 years, right? He's been in there. So he doesn't have any intention of leaving. Evidently, all of Xi's family, they're all trillionaires, right? He's probably a trillionaire. And he doesn't have any intention of leaving. And Xi's red book, Xi Jinping Thought, which is like Mao's red book, has indoctrinated many Chinese. A lot of Chinese, they back Xi, they back Xi's actions. Xi has also conducted many purges over 13 years as chairman to maintain his power. Recently, he just did a big purge of, I think, 1,300 military officers, and this could be telegraphing the opposition, internal military opposition to the Taiwan move. Anyway, the point I'm making here is, Xi should not be underestimated. So you got Trump, you got the CCP elite, and you got Xi. So you got like a three-way battle royale here, and they're equally powered. I think it depends on the cards they have. I think on the tariffs, the U.S. has certainly the trade imbalance. And I personally feel that Trump is negotiating, and that there's going to be some relief on that. But, if China does not call, and they will, I do not believe Xi will lose face. And the only way China is going to negotiate is if Xi isn't there. Someone else is going to have to come in, because he is not going to. Anyway, so I thought this was interesting. This is information I haven't seen elsewhere myself. I don't know. And again, this is from supposedly reliable sources. This is a disclaimer. It's compiled from different sources. There's different translations. So this might not be, but this is the spirit of what this supposedly this position paper or this action plan is. So it may not be exact what I have here, and I have condensed this and reviewed several different sources and tried to extract a summary, but it's pretty close. As well, the source of this document has not been revealed. We don't know who it is, supposedly an insider, CCP insider. Anyway, other sources exist for this information. Okay, so you can seek these out and do your own due diligence. And, regarding any investments or investment advice, I have none, except, gold is looking good after you look at this. But I know Tesla earnings are coming out, and they have a large presence in China, but that's self-contained. I don't know what risk Tesla would face from this. He has a good relationship. Musk does there too. But do your own due diligence. Anyway, this is MXUX. I hope you like the presentation. Xi's 5-point plan to respond to the tariffs. Pretty shocking.